Hey, what's up, people? J-Dub here to review WWE's latest pay-per-view offering, which is Bragging Rights. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and click that yellow button over there. Thanks. I have to say, the first match of the night, I did not see that match, but I do know that The Miz won the match. United States Champion versus Intercontinental Champion. The Miz versus John Morrison, former tag team partners. The Miz ended up winning this match, so you have one win in the Raw column for the night. The second match of the night was the Divas Tag Team Championship. Women's Champion Michelle McCool, Natalya, and Beth Phoenix versus the Divas Champion Melina, Kelly, and Gail Kim. This match, it was a pretty good match, I'm not even going to say for a Divas match. It was a good match. I'm just going to leave it at that. You had Beth Phoenix. She was really dominating in this match. You got to had the chance to see some offense from Natalya, something you really don't see. She had a chance to showcase her talent. But yeah, this match ends with Beth Phoenix pinning the Divas champion Melina. So yeah, I was thinking that they were going to put some momentum on the side of Beth Phoenix with her move to SmackDown, and it seems that they have done this with her pinning the Divas champion. So it'll be pretty cool to see what happens with the SmackDown Divas, coming out of this pay-per-view. Yeah, going to go on to the third match tonight. World Heavyweight Championship match, The Undertaker, CM Punk, Batista, Rey Mysterio, fatal 4-way match for Undertaker's World Heavyweight Championship. This match ends with, I believe, The Undertaker tombstoning Batista, and he pins him. 1, 2, 3 matches over and done with. To my surprise, The Undertaker did not pull a sting. He was actually in the match for most of its duration, and like I said in my preview for Bragging Rights, I wanted CM Punk and Rey Mysterio to have like the most one-on-one time, versus each other in the ring, but I actually think it was The Undertaker and Batista to have the most one-on-one time in this match. And CM Punk, he was like gone for most of the match. I don't even really remember seeing CM Punk, and it's kind of sad to see how low he's sunk. So you heard the stories about CM Punk possibly being in the WWE doghouse, and if you take Hell in a Cell, which was a relatively short match, some people would say Undertaker beating CM Punk for his championship. Then you have CM Punk tapping out really quickly on this last episode of SmackDown, and not even winning his World Heavyweight Championship, and not winning his World Championship back. Then you have this match. He's the former World Champion, and you didn't even really see him featured in this match whatsoever. So yeah, it's pretty sad to see how low he's sunk, seeing as at one point he was probably the top heel in WWE. So yeah, and speaking of heels, it seems like Batista has made a heel turn after the match was over with. He basically attacked Rey Mysterio because Rey Mysterio was on the mic, with Josh Matthews, I think that's his name, Josh Matthews. And so Rey Mysterio was like, yeah, Batista, we were close, and we were close to winning. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, we? This was not a tag team match for the tag team championships. This was a fatal 4-way match. Only one person can win. Both of you couldn't win at all. So but he was playing off of this whole best friend thing, and Batista's like, oh, you think we're close? We were close. Oh no, we weren't close. And then so Batista attacks Rey Mysterio because at one point in the match, Rey Mysterio did break up a pin that Batista had on The Undertaker, and possibly prevented Batista from winning the match. Then he starts shouting, I thought you were my friend. I thought you were my friend, sounding slow as hell. So yeah, it seems like Batista is turning heel. I'm thinking that things on SmackDown are going to heat up, after this. So I'll definitely be tuning in. We had the fourth match of the night, SmackDown vs. Raw Tag Team match. You had Team SmackDown, Unified Tag Team Champion Chris Jericho, Kane, Matt Hardy, Finlay, R-Truth, and the Hart Dynasties, David Hart Smith and Tyson Kidd versus Team Raw, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, Unified Tag Team Champion Big Show, Mark Henry, Cody Rhodes, Jack Swagger, and Kofi Kingston. I was thinking to myself, what could be a possible storyline coming out of this match? And I think the storyline presented itself tonight because this match ended with the Big Show turning on his team, and he knocked out Kofi Kingston, who was a legal man. Then he knocked out Triple H, and the person from, I think it was Chris Jericho, he gets the pin on Kofi Kingston, and Team SmackDown ends up winning this match, and they end up winning Bragging Rights, this ugly ass trophy. So I guess this was what they were fighting for all along. But yeah, like I said, the Big Show turned on his team, so I'm guessing that DX is going to take this and they're going to feud with Big Show and Chris Jericho and possibly win the tag team championships. And like I said a couple of videos ago, possibly go into a feud with the Hart Dynasty. And speaking of that, I didn't see what I wanted to see in this match. The announcers didn't even reference the Montreal Screwjob. They, I didn't get that stare down. I didn't get that moment where I'm like, oh, these two teams, like, they're in the ring together and they're thinking something. Like, it's behind this, aggression that they're displaying towards each other. You did have Shawn Michaels and David Hart Smith mixing it up, and you did have Tyson Kidd and Triple H mixing it up. I wish I would have seen like the opposite or vice versa. David Hart Smith and Triple H, the big guys mixing it up, and then lightweights Shawn Michaels and Tyson Kidd mixing it up. Though that would have been a pretty good combination. But yeah. This match, it didn't come off too well to me. Like, I didn't like this match. You have the point where you have those multiple person matches where everybody is jumping in the ring and they're getting their finisher hit. Then that person rolls out of the ring. Then you have someone else jumping in and hitting their finisher. That point in the match, that came off pretty, sloppy to me. I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but that came off really sloppy in the match. And up until this point in the pay-per-view didn't even seem like a pay-per-view at all. It seemed like, and I think it was Ray Fan 1 who brought this up in a live chat that I was in on the J-Dub Show website, shameless plug, but he brought it up that it seemed like an NBC special or something like that, and I totally agree with him. It didn't seem like a pay-per-view until you got to the final match of the night, the WWE Championship match. Randy Orton defending his championship versus John Cena in a 1 hour anything goes WWE Iron Man match, and everything definitely went in this match. You had John Cena, hitting an attitude adjuster on Randy Orton on top of steel steps onto the announcer's table. You had John Cena getting busted open. I think it was legit. It was a legit busted open, and when the hell has this ever happened? Oh, and I have to go back to something. This SmackDown vs. Raw tag team match. You have Michael Cole on the, he's on the at the announcer's table, and he's like, at some point in the match, I don't even know what the hell happened, but he's like, vintage bragging rights. Excuse me, what the fuck is vintage bragging rights? This is the first ever bragging rights pay-per-view. What do you have to reference vintage to? Like, you don't have any other bragging rights pay-per-views to reference anything to, so what the fuck is a vintage bragging rights? I'm pretty sure at this point he's just saying vintage to piss people like me off. And there you go. And also another point of King, it was said to me before, I didn't really think anything of it, but it's been said to me before that he has a real problem with the Hart family, and he has a real problem with Canada also. And I kind of heard him taking jabs at the David Hart Smith and Tyson Kidd. Like, at one point in the match, he was like, something about he had to go to Red Lobster, or he's working late shifts at Red Lobster or something like that. But he was taking jabs at the SmackDown team, unnecessary, really. And back to the Randy Orton versus John Cena match. I think this was a good match. It wasn't anywhere near epic to how the announcers were billing it as, and I think they exceeded expectations, but again, the expectations were that the match was going to suck. So it was good. It was, like I said, it wasn't epic whatsoever. One of probably the best point in the match was when Randy Orton, he threw John Cena through the LED lights, like they have like that lighting display. He threw John Cena through there. Then also he tried to blow up John Cena with like some fireworks and shit, and then it end up not working. Well, John Cena had rolled out of the way, then the fireworks went off, but John Cena wasn't harmed by it at all. Hell, even if he did get hit with the fireworks, he wouldn't be harmed at all. One point in the match, he got hit upside the head with some fucking steel steps. Randy Orton goes to pin him. John Cena kicks out, but earlier in the match, he got pinned by an RKO, so that didn't make sense to me at all. And John Cena ends up winning this match because Randy Orton, he taps out with maybe like 5 seconds to go in the match. He taps out. He couldn't have held on for like 5 more seconds, and then John Cena would have been off of Monday Night Raw, out of the WWE title picture. But I think overall this was a pretty good. I'm not gonna say. Yeah, pretty good. I'm just going to give it to him. Yeah, and the final count for the falls was Randy Orton 5, John Cena 6. So John Cena is your new WWE champion. I am J Dub. Peace out. Okay, I also have to add that the pay-per-view, it was, moderately enjoyable to watch, but I think it came off, pretty poorly. Like I said, it didn't have that pay-per-view feel until the final match of the night. And speaking of the final match of the night, I think WWE relied too heavily on that match. They thought that, we can just throw on a couple of more matches on this pay-per-view, and John Cena versus Randy Orton, that's going to carry the whole pay-per-view. I don't think it carried the whole pay-per-view whatsoever. This feud was overrated, and that match was not epic whatsoever. So there you go.